All right, friends, I get to open up today's mini coaching call. This is really a friction point that we are seeing with our clients. They're like heads down, ball caps on, visors on, working hard, coming to calls, doing the work, putting in the reps, as Colton Havens would say. And then they look up because they have been under such a mound of stuff. The question is, what do I do now? So this could be after a launch. This could be after many launches. This could be at any one given point. Like, how do we get off the treadmill of the shiny objects and really optimize what's already working for us? So how do you want to kick this off, Cassie Brown?
Yeah. So I first want to say, understanding, acknowledging, and accepting the reality that you are a creative being and that new things light you up, right, is both a blessing and a curse.
Yep.
Okay. And so one, I feel like we are committed to reminding you, like, you're human. Mm-hmm. And the more that you're aware of it, like, knowledge is power, right? Like, it's just that philosopher, know thyself, right? Know that you're going to operate this way. And so it won't be surprising, right? But you have to recognize what's going on when you are coming off of this high and it's like all of the accomplishment, right? And then it's like, okay, what's next? So many people, they've worked so hard, and then it's like, okay, on to the next thing that doesn't even have anything to do with what you just did, right? And you haven't evaluated, right? So we start with the evaluation of the experience, right? And that's a two-way street. Your experience and your team's experience. So that's the internal, right? And then the external client experience. How did they receive it? What was their experience? Did they get the results? Did they stay engaged? Was it spot on? Was it a little too overcomplicated? Where did they get lost? Right? So what happens is, so many people, they go on to thinking, okay, what is the next build that I need to do? Instead of like bringing that microscope in and evaluating, what did we do? What is working? What is not working, right? So we evaluate and we optimize.
That's the most important part of the process. I think that if people right now, if you're questioning in your mind, and the big takeaway is, I want to be confident in the decisions that I make. If it is a one and done for you, to me, honestly, I don't know how you can be confident, because there hasn't been the evaluation. The evaluation gives you the roadmap in order to make decisions. If you're ready for ads, what needs to be changed, what needs to be added to the course, how can we optimize the experience of our customer? So I almost want to take that, and it's the most important part of this whole process to give us the directions for the next thing, because the thing that you just launched could be the only one thing that you do for 20 years. I'm a case in point. I did a seasonal children's consignment sale, a seasonal children's consignment sale. That was it for children, only kids stuff. I didn't say, well, let's include dads. Well, let's include outdoor equipment. Well, let's include, it was only for kids. And I did it for almost 19 years until we sold it. There were systems that were put into play, and the ways that I learned systems in the beginning, that you literally, and it was a gift, because every 6 months I had to do the same thing. And what I found was that when you change too many things at one time, it's a hot mess. So that's why I go to change one thing, but I change one thing, or I go after one goal based on what the data is giving me. So Cassie said something really important, whether it's internal and whether it's external. In the very beginning of that seasonal event, every single season, we would hand out questionnaires. When we passed out the checks to our consigners, we would hand out questionnaires to get the feedback. Now, as the business owner with a 30,000 foot view, some of their ideas you just couldn't implement, because you're making decisions for the whole. But you also need to make decisions that work for you as well, right? In order to be confident in those decisions, it is in just an evaluation every single time you launch, to get off of the treadmill of shiny object. Oh, I want to learn this. Maybe I want to incorporate a challenge. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I want to do that. Let's optimize the parts of that offer. So when we talk about that, let me just give an example. So for about 18 months inside of my membership, one of the things that we solely focused on was customer experience. How can I increase engagement? What can I do to leverage my time, but yet have my people feel supported and seen and heard, and to support them in their needs so they can see progress faster? So we started with little things. Now, all the things that you hear that like these big names put into place, friends, you can't do that. I mean, it takes one thing at a time. I think for like 6 to 8 months, I wanted to incorporate Bonjoro into my process. It took me that long to do. And when it was done, I was like, why the heck did we wait so long? Well, because we're optimizing all of these other things that has to do with what? Customer experience, not let me launch the next thing. Let me go do the next thing. So it's really importance of confidence in your decision. The only way that you get there is you optimize the one thing. When you look at the one thing, it's an evaluation, and how to get off the treadmill is that we circle back. I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, right? Is that we circle back and we evaluate the one thing. But that's really, how can a business stay in business for 18 years, undergo a pandemic, and have someone outreach to you that they want to buy your business? We've optimized the one thing. I mean, that's proof in the pudding. What else are we going to talk about, Kaci Brown?
Yeah. I think it feels a little bit boring, right?
Yeah.
When we, let's just talk about it, right? Like, but it's one of the most important steps that we see people skipping.
Yeah.
And so what to do next? Have you evaluated and optimized, right? And when you just do those two things, it reveals the next step, right? Sometimes that is the next step, but when you evaluate and you optimize, it will reveal the next step. I feel like a few of these have come up when we've done a brain dump, or we've, had our own internal retreats, Rhonda, and you put all of the ideas and the offers on the board, and we look at like, okay, well, we could go over here and we could spend time creating, right? Or we could just optimize, right? And when we optimize what's working, it's already more profitable, like right out of the gate. It's proven, right? And we're polishing it. And that should always drive our decisions, right? If it's not working, that's when we can go back to the drawing board, draw from the feedback, and then create the next iteration.
Yeah. And when we're talking about evaluation, I think that just to kind of further the process systems person in me, like, what does evaluation even mean when, let's just use an example of a launch, right? It could be your first launch or second launch. One of the things that I would live and die by with my seasonal event were my numbers. I could tell when I opened registration, I'd have 300 people if it was going to be a good season, I'd have 300 people to register and pay to participate within 24 hours. Done. I knew my numbers and a number of items that my people were entering. So I had years worth of data to pull from. I knew that I need to encourage them through emails. Oh, we're getting close. You need to enter things. Or I needed to say, well, you need to pull back and only bring your good stuff, because those numbers were creeping me up. When it came to registering people for the event, same thing. I could tell if we were close or if we were going to be way far off. I could tell when we opened the doors financially how that season would end. I had my ad spend down to like $2,000 a season on Facebook ads, and that could generate upwards of $250,000 plus. And friends, that was $3 and $5 items. I knew how much I knew if we were behind on a 50% off day. I mean, numbers tell you everything. And if you can't tell me what your numbers are, it's really hard to define the roadmap to see where the gaps are, that then you focus. So that shiny object, we focus on the gaps that our numbers, I just came up with that our numbers tell us. because then we can confidently invest. It's not going into a group and saying, oh, I need help with this. Do you really need help with that? Or is this over here is what you need help with? My offer's not working. Well, when we do the numbers, you had a 30% conversion. What's not working about that? I'd take that all day long and on Sunday too. So unless we do the unsexy work to give us the roadmap, like everything else kind of falls apart after that. And I know that we're like always off to the new and shiny, but literally, and I'll just give you kind of a case in point, a client that I had, she had launched a membership and she had done it in a way where she was really happy with the founding member launch. But what she didn't like about it was the way that she marketed the membership or the launch. And not that it was slimy or anything like that, but it didn't align with her. And what she was doing, it was almost putting, what is it, a round peg into a square hole, where she was using kind of a traditional one size fits all marketing. And after peeling away the layers and evaluation, I was like, friend, you have been in business for 20 years. You have a Rolodex of at least 100 people that now we can focus on simple conversations that align with you to sponsor people now for your membership. We don't have to do it like everybody else is doing it. We can define our success and we can define our route the way that works best and aligns for us. So if you have done the evaluation and you're just kind of stuck, then think about like, how can that marketing, how can that gap, how can I fill that area? That is where you take the next step. You don't abandon and go on to the next thing.
Boom. So that's what's next, right? My third bonus step would be systematize. And we can do like a deep dive on how to build systems and when you know your business is ready in a future episode. But that I think is the biggest thing to focus on. Like what's next, right? Evaluation, optimization, and systemization.
Anything that you do once, you're going to do multiple times. And that's something like listening to customers, like sitting down and starting from scratch every time I sit down. And the question, I'm just going to close this loop right here because you've opened it and it's in my being to close the loop. When should you start using processes and systems in your business? Today. I don't care if you're new. I don't care if you've been doing it for 10 years or 20 years. You start today. When you realize that you can multiply yourself and stay in your zone, and we are not a proponent of a big team. That's a whole nother open loop. There is like a brain pop that feels so good when that happens. That's why systems are completely sexy. They multiply you. But more importantly, where I found the most growth in my seasonal event, I'm using the seasonal event as like a big, there's a lot of lessons that we can take from that, Cassie, that we can unpack. But when I realized I had a system and I would turn it over to someone, and it was their magical power that would take what that expectation was. And I didn't even define it as an expectation, but they would take that process. And because they were so good at what they did, it skyrocketed. And so they are in their zone. That is their superpower. And I can stay over here and do what I know how to do. At that point, the business exploded. I don't know what else we need to say. I think that's like a mic drop moment.
That is a mic drop moment. And I think that is the thing. What do I do next? Right. And when and how and when to know it doesn't always have to be you. Right. I think we can deep dive into one of our, that's something that comes up all the time. Right. in coaching our clients. And so I see Rhonda writing it down right now. And that's a beautiful thing about like it not being all on your shoulders, is to know that it'll get done. So thank you for joining us. Right. Did we already go through like Like, yes, rate, share, review, subscribe. We love spending time with you. We love bringing you this content. If there's something that you want to see a video created on that we haven't already answered, or it's not in the pipeline, like reach out to us, send us a message. We'll put the email or the link to do that in the description. And we just want to equip you in every way possible to keep moving forward. Keep stretching yourself in growth and the way that you show up and serve, and create a life that fulfills both your soul and your goals for impact. We'll see you next time.
Bye.